afternoon and welcome to Messy Church Online. My name is Christine Hardy and I'll be leading you through the activities today. It's been a particularly difficult year for everyone this year, and I pray and hope that you and your families are safe and well. We are now, as a church, in the season of Advent and preparing to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ on Christmas Day, God's gift to us. Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without the presents to remind us that it's a very special occasion. And we also have our little friend here who delivers some of those presents in secret and puts them under your Christmas tree or on the end of your bed. But of course, without the birth of Jesus Christ, there would be no Christmas. The story I'm going to read you at the beginning may sound familiar because there is a poem with the same beginning, but it is slightly different and you'll have to listen carefully. This is the night before Christmas. 'Twas the night before Christmas. That's Christmas Eve, and Santa was wiping his face on his sleeve. Green elves were sewing, blue elves were counting, red elves were carving. The pressure was mounting. "Be quick," Santa bellowed. "There's so much to do. My list is so long, it just isn't true." The elves put their heads down and trebled their speed. 10 billion presents were what they would need. Swing boards were tested, puppets were strung, board games were boxed, slinkies were sprung. Skateboards were oiled, yo-yos were threaded, dollies were dressed, teddies were tedded. The workshop resounded with elves hard at work. There was no time to rest. There was no time to shirk. Santa looked down and studied his list. He was sure there was something he'd missed. Aeroplanes, bicycles, boomerangs, drums, pogo sticks, spinning tops, sugar mice, sugar plums. He ticked all the boxes and then turned with a jump. Mrs. Claus had arrived with a plate and the hump. "Santa," she grumbled, "you've been asked, you've been told. Now look what's happened, your dinner's gone cold." Santa frowned crossly. "I've no time to eat. There's reindeer to ready and deadlines to meet." The cold winter stew got plonked on the table. Santa harumphed and went to the stable. Up Dasher, up Dancer, up Donner and Blitzen, up Comet, up Cupid, up Prancer and Vixen. The reindeer woke up and climbed to their feet. They had slept for a year and needed to eat. With reindeer refueling and time ticking by, Santa ran out and looked at the sky. The North Star was twinkling, snowflakes were falling, excitement was building, Christmas was calling. Back in the workshop the shelves were now lined with presents and gifts of every kind. Kites had been ribboned, printing sets inked, spinning tops balanced, tiddlies winked. Toys had been tested, batteries loaded, instruments tuned, computer games coded. "Remember," said Santa, "our schedule is tight." The elves gave a nod and worked through the night. Pop guns were loaded, footballs inflated, candy canes twisted, train sets tinplated, dolls' clothes were folded, annuals were printed, tangerines polished, chocolate coins minted. Santa thought hard as the present piles grew. He was sure there was something he'd forgotten to do. With take-off time now only hours away, he raced back outside to inspect the sleigh. The elves in high vis had done Santa proud. "Da-da!" they exclaimed as they threw off the shroud. Jet washed and polished, red, silver and gold, the sleigh was a picture, a joy to behold. "Good job!" Santa shouted. "3 cheers for you. If I didn't know better, I'd say it was new." Inside the workshop, the elves began clapping. The presents were made. It was time to get wrapping. Paper was folded, scissors were snipped, labels were written, fountain pens dipped. "Keep going," cried Santa. "It's Christmas Eve morning. There's no time for breakfast and no time for yawning." I guess you could say that elves have a knack. See, 10 billion presents in one magic sack. With a wave to his help, he ran. In one magic sack. "You've done it," cheered Santa. "We are done, we are there. And not only that, with minutes to spare." He ran through his list and checked it all through. What was it he'd forgotten to do? With a wave to his helper, he raced to the sleigh, made himself comfy and sat-navved his way. "Giddy up!" Santa cried with a nod and a wink. The reindeers took off and were gone in a blink. As dry leaves before a spent hurricane slow, so calmness returned to the landscape below. Chaos and mayhem became stillness and peace, until Mrs. Claus ran out in her best winter fleece. "Santa!" she panted, jumping the gate. But Santa was gone. Mrs. Claus was too late. "It's the same every year," she said with a wave. "Nicholas, my dear, you've forgotten to shave." And that's by Kes Gray and Claire Powell. So now we know why Santa's beard is so long. Hope you've enjoyed that story. We're making later some chocolate cornflake cakes, an autumn wreath, a lantern. I'm sure many of you have made these before. Some stars, and either draw or make the nativity scene. We've got here the stable, Mary and Joseph, Mary holding the baby Jesus, and a little manger. But if we can't actually make them, you can draw them. Okay, we'll start with the simpler activities rather than the difficult ones first. You can do these any way you want. You don't have to do it the way I've done it. So, cutting out stars, you'll obviously need to draw stars. Now I've got a few here. I've got a 3D star. I've not coloured this. It's 2 stars, you cut a slit, put them together, and you've got a 3D star. And if you can get an adult to put some string or thread through the top, you can hang them on your Christmas tree. These are some I've decorated, so you'll be able to see. I only had green card, so made it a little bit different. These have been decorated. I've painted them yellow and then put glitter on, and again put some string through the top and hang them on your Christmas tree. I've also made one and cut the centre out of it, cut the centre smaller, again painted it and put glitter on, and you can dangle it in the middle like that, again on the Christmas tree or hanging from your window. So drawing a star. Where's my piece of paper gone? I find the easiest way to draw a star, if you haven't got a template, is to draw a triangle. Use a ruler or do it freehand. So draw one triangle, you can just see that, and then draw another one through it. So that's the easiest, or I found the easiest way to draw a star, unless you've got a template. Alright, next activity is a lantern, which, as I'm saying, I'm sure many of you have done this before. Now you can either do it on plain paper and colour it, put a ribbon of some sort or some glitter if you like around the bottom, or you can make it on pattern paper to start off with. I've got this one ready for cutting out. So to do this, it's a 20 centimetre square piece of paper. Leave 3 centimetres at the top, 3 centimetres at the bottom, and cut and draw 2 centimetre strips all the way along. So that down there. These scissors are a bit too big. I don't know where my smaller scissors are. Starting to cut these strips isn't easy, and you will need adult help. So ask an adult to just help you to cut the strips. I'm going to cheat. Fold it in half. And you can cut the strips up. Easiest way. So fold the paper in half and just cut the strips. I always find it easier to draw the lines so you can see exactly where you're cutting. It doesn't matter if one side's slightly longer than the other. Once you've cut the strips out, fold it in half, fold it again. Put glue on one edge, and stick it together. So if you've got a bit of old wrapping paper or some Christmas paper that your parents don't mind you having, or any decorative paper, If you're going to use plain paper and decorate it, it's a good idea to decorate it first before you cut it out. Because once you've cut it out and stuck it, it's not easy to colour it. And also from the strip of paper you need to cut a 20cm length strip, 1.5 centimetres wide. I'm going to stick that handle in. The glue's not being very helpful. Pritt stick you might be able to use Pritt stick to do this with. I tend to put the handle where the join is, and stick it to the other side. Obviously if you're using paper that's already decorated, make sure you stick it on the right side. Unfortunately, because I folded this, it's folding in the wrong way. And there you have one lantern. Again, it can be hung on your Christmas tree, or you can use it as decoration around the house. I've got more glue on me than I have on the lantern. There we go. And that's already decorated, you don't need to decorate it. Okay, so for our next activity, I'm going to make a wreath. Right, so first of all you'll need a piece of card, or a cardboard, empty cereal box is a good idea, and draw a circle. This is actually what I used to paint my circle on, so I didn't get it all over my table. Doesn't matter what size of circle, but you need to draw it and have a centre. So you're going to cut out the centre and you're going to cut out the edge. You will need adult help with this activity. Okay, because we don't want any cut fingers. So I've cheated a little bit because I had some printed leaves that I printed off for use in Messy Church. So to save myself drawing leaves, I've just coloured those and cut them out. And then I've stuck them together in bunches of 3. So you start with your circle. You can paint it if you want, or you can just leave it plain, it's up to you. I've got some double-sided tape on mine, which makes it a little bit easier, but you can use sellotape or glue, it's just as easy. Try to identify where you're going to think of the top being. So I'm going to have the top there, and then you start by overlapping the leaves. Put them in. So if that's my top, it's going to be the bottom. I want to put something different in there. I've got a bit of fancy, I've got all sorts of bits and pieces that I can use. You can use anything you like really and decorate it any way you want. It doesn't have to be with leaves, you can cut pictures out of a magazine, but make sure you've asked permission first. Pictures of flowers, trees, leaves. whatever you like. I've got a few little white flowers here that I'm going to put on, but I'm going to try and put this cone on. It might not work. We'll put that there. It looks like it might do. So I'm going to put these little flowers around it. I always have bits of all sorts in my house that I've collected over the years. I've got a little bit of ivy here. Let's put that on as well. That's not going to stick as well as I thought. So I'll put some glue on the back of it, see if it'll stick with some glue on it. Might not work this, it's just an idea. Put lots of glue on there as well. As I say, you will need adult help to do this activity, so make sure you've got an adult or a big brother or sister helping you with it, so you don't get in too much of a mess. Don't think that's going to work somehow. I'm going to cut that tail there. It might stay on for a bit longer, bit longer anyway. And I have got some glitter glue. Glitter glue is a little bit easier than your ordinary glitter. You don't tend to get too much all over the place. I just squirt a little bit on the cone. Make it look a bit more festive, a bit more Christmassy. There we go. It does take a while. If you do get glitter glue, it does take a while for it to dry, so be prepared to wait. So there we have a little wreath, but I'm just going to add one more thing. You remember those stars we were making? Right, this is the one I made with some yellow paper. So I'm going to stick this just on a bit of ribbon. So it dangles in the middle. Oops, sorry, that goes. It needs time to set. Okay, so that's that one. Now, I have got one here that I'm doing with real leaves. Again, as last time when we did the leaf man, the last activity, if you do use real leaves, just give them a gentle wash, because we don't want anything all over your hands. So I've started that. Again, circle, I've painted it green again. With this, I do have to stick it on with sellotape, but I will show you. So if you start at the top, work your way around. These are all out of my garden, so I know where they've come from. Working with real leaves is not easy, especially when you're using holly, because it tends to be quite prickly. I've only got a limited amount of space. Oh, where's my sellotape? And with real leaves you do need to use sellotape, they won't stick on with glue. It's a bit fiddly. you just cut them to what you want. Again, sellotape. I've lost the end. Always have an extra one spare. Do that all the way around until you've finished it. I've also got some leaves here. Just to give it a bit more colour. It's a bit fiddly and probably very awkward sometimes. But there you can see it making it the way it's coming, and that's falling off already. I've not got it right. Basically, you make it up all the way around until you're finished. So you can either do it with real leaves or with paper leaves. The last activity, well, next activity we've got is the nativity stable. Now, I've made this one out of cardboard, out of card. It was a little bit tricky because I made the sides and the back first and then stuck the top on and then put the star on. Made one out of paper using that sort of a shape. You can try that one. This one's probably the easiest, and I've used a pop-up tart box, painted some paper brown and just stuck that on. Just needs decorating on the inside. Now I made a little cradle, little manger out of card, and Mary and Joseph. Mary holding the baby Jesus. Now that is a little bit difficult and it's very fiddly, and you'd have to find a picture or something to draw that, or you could use Play-Doh and make your figures with Play-Doh. Or what you could do is simply draw me a picture of Mary and Joseph and the baby in a manger, Jesus in the manger and the stable. So I'm going to leave that up to you. You can have a go at making your own stable like that. If you can't make a manger in that way or a stable, just draw me a nice picture. And if you can save whatever you make, whether you do a picture or make your own stable, save it so that when we do meet together again next year at Messy Church at Lady Wilton Hall, you can bring it with you and we can put out what people have made during the last couple of months. Okay, now we're here for the last activity, the one that I'm sure all you children have been waiting for, and that is a chocolate cornflake cakes. Now, I've actually used a mixture that was on the internet using syrup, but I don't particularly like it, and I think we're going back to just melted chocolate. So first of all, make sure you've washed your hands as with any food preparation, you need to make sure your hands are clean. Make sure you get everything you need. So I've got the cornflakes and some marshmallows and Smarties, decorations, and Father Christmas supervising. So obviously start off by melting the chocolate. Please ask an adult to do this part for you. Do not try and do it on your own. You can sometimes do it in the microwave. I prefer to do it on the cooker with a bowl over hot water. Once you've melted your chocolate, put your cornflakes in. Now I prefer to use a metal spoon because you don't crush them up the same as you do when you're using a wooden spoon. This recipe I'm using at the moment adds syrup, and it makes it a little bit too thick. It doesn't really want to coat the cornflakes like just melted melted chocolate does. So I think the next lot I will just make with melted chocolate and not use the syrup. Unless it's me that's put too much syrup in it. It's not mixing it's not covering the cornflakes very well at all. Now if you're going to add anything else like your marshmallows or Smarties, it's probably better to do it about this stage so it gets in with all the cornflakes. So what I'm going to do is divide it up into this bowl. Put some in this bowl. Actually it's setting already, to be honest. Don't really want it to set too much. I'm going to put some marshmallows in this one. As I say, the recipe using the syrup is not covering the cornflakes as it should do. So I'll put them into the paper cases and see what happens afterwards. Turn that gas down. About a spoonful in each. And this one I'm going to mix some Smarties. Oops. You've dropped your star, Father Christmas. Put your star back on. Sure it'll get eaten whether they're set or not. Pour that into there while I melt some more chocolate. See if we have better luck with the next batch. So I put it over over like this. Put some water in the pan. Break your chocolate into small pieces. Go in the recycling bin. It's foil. Go in the blue bin. This time I'm just going to use the chocolate and nothing else. I've had to reorganise my kitchen a little bit, so there's a few things all around the place at the moment. You can see it melts quite quickly once you get it over the heat. You've got to be careful you don't run out of hot water underneath it. Some people like to do it in the microwave, but every time I do it in the microwave I tend to burn the chocolate and it's no use at all then. So that's why I do it this way. Old-fashioned way, the way my mother taught me. I hope you've enjoyed the activities so far. Some of them might have been a little bit difficult for you to do, but it doesn't matter whether you've managed to do them or not. If you've liked what you've done, or you've done something different, try and keep it safe, and hopefully when we do get back to Messy Church at Our Lady at Lady Wilton Hall, you can bring them with you, and the first day we get back we'll have a sort of show and tell, so you can bring whatever you've made, and like I say, if it's something different to what I've done, you can tell us why you've done it and how you've done it. And obviously you'll be breaking up soon from school, so you'll be able to have a little bit more time. But make sure you keep your bedrooms tidy, otherwise Father Christmas won't come. You don't want him tripping over your clothes off the floor. And remember, when you're opening your presents, to think about the reason why you've got those presents, because it's Jesus' birthday. We need to remember the other lots of children, or many children, who won't have any presents at all to open on Christmas Day. So as you open your presents, thank God for the presents that you've got and for the family you have. Right, I think that's just about melted now. See, it's nice and smooth, much better than the one with the syrup in it. I might have overcooked that chocolate, to be truthful, but never mind. This one's better. Sorry, I just repositioned the camera again. So now we've got the melted chocolate, cornflakes in. That's better. That's definitely coating it better now. I think there's a good chance I've burnt that chocolate before, but like I say, I'm sure it'll get eaten. My grandchildren will soon devour them all. And my husband will. I know he likes them. I can put a few more in there. Definitely much easier with just plain chocolate. Nothing added to it. That's definitely covering it. As I said before, if you're going to add marshmallows or some Smarties or anything else, maybe you like, I don't know. I wouldn't put chocolate buttons in. If you put chocolate buttons in, they're just going to melt and like the chocolate that's in with it, so you won't really see them. Minstrels, Skittles, anything like that you could probably get into it. Jelly beans, jelly babies. Not jelly baby, jelly tots. That might be nice. Okay, if you're going to add something, like I say, split it, divide it now. I'll put some in there. Again, put a few marshmallows in this one. Sure you'll agree that looks a lot nicer. Couple more. It's not unusual for adults to make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Okay, spoon again. And spoon about a spoonful in each. I might make them all about the same. You may, obviously, even at this stage, you may need an adult's help or your big brother or sister to help out with this activity. Now, to make sure you know which are which, you can put some marshmallows on the top. So you know those are the ones you put the marshmallows in. And in this one we'll put some Smarties again. Okay, and again, put those into your cake cases. You've got it all set up. It's much easier now having to fiddle about finding cake cases and setting it all up. Because once you get the chocolate out off the heat, it tends to go hard fairly quick and starts to set. Well, then you can either put marshmallows, Smarties on the top, or I've picked up some Christmassy decorations. So I've got chocolate all over my hands as well now. And I'm going to sprinkle some of these on. It will have the hollies and the berries. And some snowflakes. What else have we got? Gold stars. Now, lots of you get gold stars for your work at school. Our head teacher's award. You get lots of awards these days, don't you, for doing well? A bit more in that one, not much in there. And what you used to call hundreds and thousands, little colourful balls. Put some of those on that one. On that one, I quite like those. Put some more holly on that one. So that's definitely the better tray. I haven't burnt the chocolate with that one. Enjoy making them. I'm sure you will enjoy eating them. I hope you've enjoyed the activities that we've done today at Messy Church. If they were a bit difficult for you, just do what you can, or do something that you prefer yourself. Make something up. It doesn't have to be what I've done. But remember that Christmas is all about Jesus being born in a stable to Mary and Joseph. And I apologise for the first batch of chocolate cornflakes. The chocolate was definitely burnt. So, as I said, make sure you have an adult, one who knows how to melt chocolate properly, to help you do it, an adult or older brother or sister. With Messy Church, we always end with the Lord's Prayer and the grace. But first of all, I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I pray and hope that we will be able to get together soon in the new year, and look forward to seeing you all. In the meantime, look after yourselves, help your parents during the Christmas period, keep your bedrooms nice and tidy, and have a really happy Christmas. So put our hands together now to say the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen. And the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, and the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit, be with you all, this day and evermore. Amen. Goodbye. See you soon. Keep your eyes open for notices in the magazine. Look after yourselves. Bye bye.